Playing from Millimeter's iPhone.
Hi guys, it's me, Mina, again. I've had a couple of people ask for some videos in relation to what to study for the test. What did I study? Well, I don't know if I explained this to you, but when I was taking my diagnostician test, and I know people are out there searching for information, so forth and so on, and my face is starting to pop up. Well, the school-based test, the one that you take at the end of your coursework to be able to even get the okay to take the state test, I bombed it so many times, I was embarrassed. My teacher started praying for me so hard, she thought she was gonna have to adopt me. And I just must admit, I just love Dr. Brown to death because she was so patient in working with me and studying and trying to encourage me for passing it. But the weird part was when I got ready to take the state test, I walked in, passed it, and had points to spare. So I don't know if I was just nervous about having to sit in front of my teacher and do it, or if it just worked better for me on the computer. But anyway, people have asked me about different materials that I've studied. I really, even as a teacher, we had to do the procedural safeguards. You know, you have to give those to your parents. What I would suggest heavily is that you learn your G's and what they're used for. What I would also suggest is that you read over that little guide that they put out there for the state. They give you that little free excerpt, of the questions. Now, that's not a full gamut, but it does give you some directive as to where the questions are going. I would also suggest that you read, like I said, the procedural safeguards and the Parents' Guide to the R Committee. I would suggest that you learn your time frames, that the test for testing and all of that. Just if you have been paying attention in class, I'm not saying that everybody that I can tell you what's on the test because that's against the law. And I took it 4 years ago. So my information, what I did was I kind of made my own study note cards of different acronyms and different words. I put those together. I Googled various questions that could be out there for the test, and I wrote them down on study sheets and questions. I made up questions myself. I read over and over and over again that procedural safeguard document. I made sure that I knew all of the G's and what they did. And like I was telling my friend, like GSM, short-term memory, the S is already there. So it's easier to remember if you put it in acronyms and something that you can kind of relate to and learn how to do that. You're definitely going to need to know, they're going to want to know that you understand the art process. And so, like I said, this was 4 years ago when I took the test. So I just sat down and just tried to make the best of what I had and what I knew from being a SPED teacher and learning all these different acronyms, because most of us are SPED teachers. I don't know, there are a few people that are entering this field that aren't special education teachers, which is baffling. But you need to know specifically probably maybe about MDRs or, like I said, your timelines for your ARDs. I took the test over 4 years ago, so I can't tell you any questions that are on the test. I have no information for that. However, I could tell you that you might want to learn how to read the IQ scores and what they mean, how to identify ID. I wrote out cards on how to identify each one. I wrote out little note cards on SLD and what to look for. And since we were using cross battery before they came out with the CSEP process, we were using cross battery and still are using cross battery to kind of figure out if the student is SLD or not. Then I wrote out a chart for how to read the XVAS report. What else? How do you stay organized? Well, calendar. My suggestion. I wouldn't, if you've passed your test online through your school. I wouldn't just stress too much about it, but the one thing about test taking is this: you're gonna have to know which way what they're asking in the question, and don't get caught up in too much part of the story, because they may give you a full page over here and the question of what they're asking is only like 3 words. And what else did I want to talk about? You might want to know something about ECI maybe, because that'll help you even in your career. Maybe some things about transitions. But like I said, I wrote cards out for everything, put explanations under them, made up my own questions. I Googled stuff to see what was out there. I'm not endorsing any books, because although I did look at other people's books, they were a little too cumbersome for me. And I think my way of making cards and going through the domains and writing down the things under the domains, the definitions of the acronyms and what they meant and how to use them and how to apply them, worked better for me than me buying a book or a program. Now, don't get me wrong, I did invest in a program, but like I said, it was a little too cumbersome for me, because it didn't guide me to anything. And it wasn't looking like the practice test that I was taking, so it kind of confused me a little bit. So you don't want to be out there being confused. And my method of taking the test was, I started from the back of the test, because I noticed when I opened up that first question, it threw me for a loop. It was like, what? And this was on a national test. So what I did was, I started from the back of the test. And it gave me a chance to kind of think about that first question without having to worry if I got it right or wrong the whole time I'm sitting here taking my test. So I started with the back of the test, and I skipped over the questions that I didn't know. I skipped over all the ones I didn't know, and I answered only the ones I knew the first time around. The second time around, when I came through to answer the questions, I went back and took the ones that I thought, since I didn't know them, let me dive a little deeper into these questions and figure out, okay, what is this saying to me? What is this asking me? Then it never hurts to guess on the ones that I just absolutely did not know the answer. I just chose an answer. But like I said, I made note cards, I Googled questions, I read back through my test that we were taking in class. I learned all the acronyms, what they meant, who did what. Same thing that you would normally do as a special education teacher. So I'm sorry that I don't have a lot of information about it, but learn your G's, learn who does what, make note cards, learn the acronyms, learn the domains of what they're asking you. What else? Make sure that you understand that procedural safeguard that we hand out, because that's important. Make sure that you also print off the information that the state has put out there, because that will lead you into the thinking of the question. It's not going to be the question, but it's going to lead you into how they're developing the thought process of these questions. So maybe that'll give you some relief in learning how to study for the test. There was no rhyme or reason to what I did. I just sat down, made note cards, I invested in index cards. I mean, I had index cards flying out of the car, falling out of my purse. I had so many index cards, I got confused. But hopefully that'll help you just a little bit, because just by me, before I got online, I looked at the state tests, the little information that they put out there on the state website, and 33% of it, they said, is assessment and evaluation. So that's a heavily weighted piece, and that's domain 2. So if you got your assessment piece and you know what's going on to assess the child when they come to the questions and things like that, then that might help. Let's see, I'm looking at the little state thing that they gave me. And that's about it. I'm sorry that I'm not more help, because I know I've had a lot of friends call me asking me, Mina, how did you study for the test? I made note cards. And I know that sounds like a little bit different, but I made note cards. So hopefully this will help you. I'm not saying that it will, but I hope it does. And keep watching. If you like my videos, I'll make more, suggest more. If you like it, subscribe, hit thumbs up. Thank you. Bye-bye.